Hello, 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 everyone. Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Hello there. Hey, Miss Dolores. Hey, Mr. Soso. Hey, Evangelist. Hello. Hey, Lolita. Teresa. Deja. Hello there. Nira. Hello, hello. Hey, Nira. How are you? Hello. Hey, Robin. Hello, everyone. Oh, I done forgot. Lord. Mm, there we go. Grand Rising, everyone. I hope that you guys are having a great Wednesday so far. Okay, I hope it's starting off smooth for each and every one of you. We have a very crazy case once again. I feel like this week's stories have been very much true crime, very much a Lifetime movie network type of stories, because this is another one that is just like that. And this is the case of Susan Clark Simpson, where she went missing. And there's a lot that was going on in her life between her and her husband before she went missing, and we're going to go over all the details as because trial is approaching, but there's a lot of debates going around this case as well. Donisha, hello there. How are you? If you haven't done so already, please make sure that you do share. I would definitely appreciate it. Share if you care, and share it to someone who possibly cares about what's going on around the world. All right, definitely been an interesting week. It has truly been an interesting week. Okay, the stories this week has just been kind of crazy. Bigo, you guys do have me today. I will be coming to you today. We have a full lineup. I'm gonna try to get through everything with you guys today. There's a case of a woman who feels as though that the local authorities have something to do with her child's death or the attempt to cover it up. Okay, we're going to go over that as well as a um woman who ran over her husband and killed him during an some form of Easter family function. Apparently, she was upset about something and she ended up killing her child's father. And I don't think he was her husband, but her child's father. We're going to get into that today as well. Um, and I don't know if you guys know about LaTruth. LaTruth is a content creator and influencer all over social media, has been all over Facebook, Instagram, and everything. Well, his first child, his daughter, she has went to social media accusing him of abuse. This isn't her first time doing this. Is just that now she's older, and it seems to be something that has been heavy upon her because she has been called a liar over the years, including him calling her a liar, saying that it isn't true, and she has recently went live stating the details of the abuse and what happened to her, and how her life was while living with her father, which included cameras in her bedroom, which made her feel uncomfortable, as well as her being able to allegedly not being able to be around friends. She wasn't allowed to be a cheerleader even though she wanted to. So we're going to go over those things today on Bigo and a few other cases as well. Okay, so you guys Control Alt Delete. Hey, the real books. What you deleting? Control Alt. Oh, did I say something? I don't know how to use. I be forgetting. The truth. Wow, not surprised. I'm not either. I'm not either. It's something wrong with him. I'm gonna be honest with you. It just when I look at him, it gives very much delusion, narcissistic, and just all over the place, but he definitely gives me delusion. Okay. LaTruth gives me very much delusion. But he has been seen making little, you know, he's been seen on Bigo a couple times, but every time he come over on the Bigo side of things, the people tear him up a new one. Okay. When I say they let LaTruth have it to where he comes one day and then he never returns and then he pops up again. So we're gonna talk about it since he likes to make his way over there. Okay. So let's get into this case for today. Now, this is the case of Suzanne and Brad Simpson. So, Suzanne Clark Simpson was a 38-year-old real estate agent, mother of four, and she was loved in her community. And she also was a part of the Olmos Park, Texas community, which is a very wealthy area out there in Texas near the north downtown area of San Antonio, and she was known for her charisma, her kindness, but as well as her work ethic. She loved to work. So Suzanne was also active in her professional real estate business and the circles of those that of alike who likes those same types of things, as well as her children's school and the activities that went on with school, as well as some extracurricular things that she was a part of as well. So, to the friends and family, the Simpsons had appeared to be very much a well-rounded family, well off, that considered rich and the dream lifestyle, basically. So behind closed doors, however, Suzanne and her husband Brad Simpson, had reportedly grown to be in a very volatile relationship. So Brad Simpson, who was a businessman with a very broad network across Bexar, Kendall, as well as Bandera counties, he was known to do a lot of networking out there in that area. But records and witness statements suggest that behind the scenes, their relationship was a little bit descended into episodes of abuse, verbal and physical. Okay. So when it goes down to how this all began to happen, all right, there was red flags that was being thrown in the very early stages of all of this, okay? While people on the outside felt as though that things was going on, Suzanne was going around telling people, that she was afraid for her life. She was also being very vocal with family members about the things in which was going on within her household. So around August of 2023, Suzanne had allegedly had told her personal banker that Brad was physically abusing her. She also had confided that if she went missing, look for me in a lake, is what she said. Do you know how afraid that you have to be to even point out the location of your body? And there has to be things there to make a person believe that, that they could possibly end up there. It could be either Brad's threats, things that he said, or it could be something that she found. Sometimes people typically do right things before they end up killing someone, believe it or not. So there was a regular pattern where Brad reportedly had took her phone during arguments, as well as isolated her and controlled her as well. So the warning signs that led up to the October 6th situation in 2023, where there was an increase of tension, close friends had noted some elevated stress and fear in Suzanne, as well as her tone and behavior had changed a little. Suzanne had also confided in her mother and her family friends that Brad had become very controlling. She appeared to be fearful and was allegedly making safety plans, including staying with friends at times due to the abuse that was going on within the household. So a friend and her mother were both active and in contact with Suzanne just hours before she vanished. So Suzanne had allegedly reported that she expressed concerns for her safety after a physical altercation that happened weeks earlier to her going missing. Okay. So despite the alleged domestic abuse, there was no formal reports that had happened. No, she did not take the time to, report the domestic violence to the authority, or any sorts of protective order had been found prior to October of 2023. So on October 2023, the day of her disappearance, in that evening, Suzanne and Brad had attended some sort of party. It was a private social club event out there in Alamo Heights in Texas, and witnesses at the party had reported seeing Brad and Suzanne fighting, and they saw Brad hit Suzanne in the face and slammed her against a wall that night. So at around 8:30 p.m., Suzanne had left the event with her 5-year-old daughter. At around 8:41, between 8:41 and 8:50 p.m., she then stopped at the HEB grocery store, and that also was caught on surveillance footage. At 9:15 p.m., she called her mother saying that Brad had assaulted her and she was hurt. And then at 9:25 p.m., she arrived at the family's house. She appeared to be shaken and injured, but Brad during this time had suspended her phone services through the AT&T plan. So he basically went into the app, and that happened around 9:16 p.m. that night. So shortly after 10 p.m., the neighbors had heard some screams and also seen Brad chasing Suzanne towards a wooded area that was behind the home. Apparently, she tried to escape. But on October the 7th of 2023, which was the morning after this whole altercation in which the neighbors had saw, at 12:33 a.m., surveillance footage from the HEB had showed Brad's truck only containing a large ice chest in the back of it. So at around 7:53 a.m., Brad had then dropped his daughter off at school, and the truck bed now includes two white trash bags and as well as the ice chest that was in there. So they're looking at the timeline to see, wait, that what was in this vehicle was not there at first, which was these two white bags. So at 9:12, Brad is then captured at a Whataburger, and he went through the drive-through, and he was seen on the surveillance footage there as well. Why is my camera doing this? One second, guys, because I don't know why this thing is losing focus. There we go. So Brad had then he then was captured at the Whataburger on surveillance footage where there was the white trash bags, a heavy duty trash bag as well, and a blue tarp that was wrapped around a secured object with a metal framework that was on the truck, as well as the ice chest was also there as well. So at 9:53 a.m., Brad is then seen at the Home Depot, and he was purchasing 2 bags of quick reat cement, okay? A orange Home Depot bucket with the lid on it, some heavy duty trash bags, some Clorox disinfectant spray, and some insect repellent. And then at 10 o'clock a.m., approximately, Brad also asked the man in the parking lot for directions to a dump site and is directed to the Kendall County solid waste area. Now, they didn't know what he was dumping, of course, but this man, of course, gave him directions because he don't know that this man could have just murdered his wife. So at 10:07, between 10:07 and 11 o'clock a.m., Brad then arrives and unloads the trash at the dump. Shortly after that, surveillance at the Stripes gas station also shows the trash bags were gone, but the tarp was still there. So whatever he had in those trash bags were no longer there anymore. And the tarp was completely empty because remember prior, the tarp was covering something that was secured there in the truck. So at 11:15, Brad then drives to Medina County, where he stays there for about 13 minutes. And then at 1:41 p.m., Brad is then back in Bourne. So he left from Bourne, he went to Medina, and then he went back to Bourne. So the blue tarp is now missing from his truck bed as well. And the firewood rack that was there was repositioned. Okay. It seems to be moved a little bit. The fact that they were able to track his entire timeline and even track when things were placed and removed from the trunk of his bed is kind of crazy. So at 3:47 p.m., Brad then picks up his daughter, okay, from school, and there's only the ice chest and a trash can remaining in the back of the truck bed. And then at 4:07 p.m., Brad is then seen washing his truck at the bubble bath car wash. I bet because it was possibly DNA in the back of that bed. So on October the 8th of 2023 at 4:30 p.m., Brad then texts his business partner, James Carter. He says, "If you're in Bandera, can you haul ass and meet me at the house? Make sure you leave all that in the pump house, especially the gun." Okay? I don't know what this is all about, but it looks like that Brad had a goal here. And I'll say that the first word was the S word, so I'll read that again. Make sure you leave all of that S in the pump house, especially the gun. At 8:31 p.m., Carter then replies, "Get over here. I won't tell anyone. You're my brother." On October the 9th of 2023, the arrests and the more discoveries begin to happen in this investigation. So in the early morning, Brad is then arrested and family violence charges at the home property, okay? And then the search warrant is then executed. So a new wall indentation is also found at the bottom of the stairway. White trash bags and red ties matching those that were seen in the truck bed was also found. Stains in his truck had tested positive for his blood. Clorox disinfectant was also found in the rear passenger seat. A burn site that was seen at another property, okay? And that burn site had contained a burnt laptop and some cell phones. Forensic data also includes notes that this next life, last will, and testament, which contains Brad's admission of abuse. That's what was notated on these devices. Apparently, he had made some form of notes in regards to this crime in which he was committing. So on October the 23rd, Suzanne's banker had revealed that she had previously confided in him about the abuse and says, if I go missing, look into a lake. So on November the 7th of 2023, Brad is then formally charged with murder and multiple counts of tampering with evidence. The previously sealed arrest warrant is then unsealed, revealing all the evidence that was collected in this investigation. Okay. So on April the 22nd of 2024, Brad then returns to court and his defense is seeking, basically they're seeking to squash this whole murder thing, okay? Because Suzanne has not been found, guys. They want to take that off the record. They don't want it there. And I need to retract that date. It's all I said 2024. It's April 22nd, 2025. So just this month. Okay? Yesterday. So his lawyers go into court and they're wanting to remove the murder off of him because Suzanne's body has not been discovered. Okay? They don't know where she is. So his lawyer is feeling as though that there is not enough evidence to, you know, deem this a murder or say that he caused the murder because they don't know if she's deceased or not. Okay? So Brad returns to court and his defense team is seeking to squash part of this indictment, claiming that the charges are basically too vague, is what they're saying. So the evidence that is currently against him in this case is the surveillance footage that gave the visual timeline of everything that he'd done in the days leading up and the days after. Okay. The digital evidence where Brad suspended Suzanne's phone and deactivated his own in order to attempt to mess up the timeline and, throw things off. The text messages between Brad and his business partner, James, the forensic discovery of the tarp, the bleach, the cement, and the blood that was in the vehicle. And then you have the statements from Suzanne's friends and family members. And then the physical observations that are around this case as well when it comes to the neighbors that saw Brad chasing after her the night that she disappeared. So as of right now, Brad Simpson is indicted on multiple charges, which includes first-degree murder, tampering with physical evidence, and obstruction. Motions have been filed in this case in order to basically wipe some of this out of the indictment because they feel as though that it's too vague. His defense is also claiming there's insufficient evidence due to the absence of the body, and the judge has also denied most of the motions. So the trial date is currently pending as of right now. And in regards to whether or not they will wipe off the murder charges, that is also pending as well because the judge has not made a decision on that as of yet. So the business partner, James, is currently facing charges as well as aiding in hiding evidence. Because what type of, sir, did you really you're my brother. You're my brother. You're just going to throw your life away for your brother who decided that he want to kill and possibly killed his wife. You're my brother. I wouldn't tell anyone. What Listen here, you could be my friend, my family, you could be my mother. If you kill somebody, I am not assisting. I am not throwing away my life because you threw away yours. I will never understand why people feel the need to prove their loyalty even in the belief of murder and domestic violence and all of this. I would never understand that part. The fact that you didn't even ask, well, I feel like that you kind of knew what he did already, and I feel like that you guys possibly even had a whole conversation about it because you was just too quick to even assist him with hiding stuff and helping him just get away with murder. The fact that you didn't even ask really any questions, honestly. Okay, brother, I'll help you. What in the world? What in the world? Like, seriously? Like, it's just one of those, um, just squash it. They want him to just let it go. Just let it go. We're not going to worry about this anymore. She's not here, that's fine. But that's the thing. When a person has been missing for a certain amount of time, not to mention when there's a certain amount of evidence that can deem them to be deceased, they possibly can go along with the part that she's deceased. Not to mention, what are you going to a landfill for? All these tarps and ice and bleach and things of that nature. And we know that if she was dropped at a landfill, the chances of her being found is slim. As I've stated previous before, if a body is dropped in a landfill, if you understand the process of trash, then you know that her body will possibly never be found, ever, ever, ever again. So, due to his actions leading up to this, as well as the actions during and after, they have enough evidence to deem her to be deceased due to the whole landfill situation added to that. Okay. Now, if someone come forward, how many women get men to murder someone just on the phrase, if you love me, you would do it for me? I don't care about loving nobody. I don't love you enough to be able to help you murder. What the world? Mr. So, I don't be knowing what type of women you be dealing with, okay? But I'm not helping you with murder. I'm not helping nobody. If my husband go out here and cold-heartedly kill someone, okay? He's always told me, and this is how we operate. If you do something stupid, don't look for me to back you up. Now, if it's justified, we're going to fight. But if you go out here and do something stupid, you are on your own. That is the arrangement that we have over here because there's no reason for you to be going out here killing anyone. Absolutely none. So if you go out here and decide that you want to murder someone, family, friend, foe, girlfriend, boyfriend, cousin, bestie. I don't care. You're going by yourself. And I'm one that believes that if you allow someone to convince you to help them with murder, there's things that you have to work on mentally as a human being. And it's some things that you need to do within self because if you would put yourself on the line for the benefit of friendship or love, there's things that you need to work on internally. Seriously, because a person of sound mind and a person that is strong enough to understand right from wrong and strong enough to understand when their life could be impacted by someone else's decisions, they won't allow someone to coerce them or manipulate them into assisting them with murder or even to hide murder. You know what I mean? So I feel like that those are one of those decisions that if your mind isn't strong enough to make decisions, it's I think you need to bow out of a relationship as of right now. You don't even need to be in a relationship. If someone can convince you of something like this, just back away from the dating pool because you don't need to be in it as of right now. Because if someone can convince you of murder, they can convince you of a lot of different things, which means your mental is not where it needs to be dating someone else. You're easily manipulated, easily controlled, easily for your emotions to be, toggled with and no, that's honestly how I feel about it. It's the core cases that I follow. I get it, but no. Mm-mm. I don't see someone just mm-mm. If no one, man, woman, or child should have, no one should have that type of control of you. That's no excuse. I feel like that's honestly you don't understand how a woman can convince a man to kill someone and da da da. No, but this is a man that his wife didn't convince him to kill her or help her hide it. This is a man that allowed his best friend to convince him to attempt to hide a murder. So the situation is actually totally different. Not realizing that they were coerced. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, the real books. There you have to understand that when it comes to decision making, it's a mental thing. If you understand the mental process of decision making, then you understand that you must be in strong mind to make proper decisions. So if someone has the strength to make you uh do something that you know isn't right, you don't need to be dating, you don't need to be in no friend pool. You need to do some work within yourself because no one would be able. I know for a fact that if someone says, Savage, can you come help me hide this body? No, but I can help you call the authorities. Hello, 911. My friend just now told me that she wanted to help me hide her boyfriend's body. I don't know where it is, but that's what she just said because I'm not going to jail with you. And what I'm not about to do is find myself to be having to testify because you decided to call my phone with about a murder and I didn't say anything. One second, guys. I got to put this thing on a charger. I don't want it to, what's the name? One moment. I don't know why it's Don't try it, hubby. I love you, bro. But nah, exactly. Like love is just, and this is, and not to mention, this is a man that allowed another man to manipulate him into doing something. This isn't even in a relationship setting, friend or not. You cannot, and this is a man allowing another man to basically dominate his mental because that's what he did. He trumped his mental. Yeah, bro. Yeah, you're my bro. I wouldn't tell anybody. So he basically put himself behind the friendship of his brother, knowing that his brother could possibly be a suspect to a murder. That alone it shows to me men- mental weakness. And it's okay. And I always tell people all the time, it's okay to say that your mental is weak right now. And that's fine to say that. And what that does is allow people time to build a stronger mental, but also understand the understand the qualities that make your mental weak, or what actions could possibly make you weak. Or it's important that you dig into yourself to discover those things, because there's actions that can make you weak, certain emotions, certain people, certain situations that can make you mentally weak. And if you know that you have those things, you have to dig into yourself and work on it, you know? But yeah, this is you got to be mentally strong. You do. Because especially in this world where demonic the that demon jumps on people in a very crazy way. Okay? And who you think will be a very nice and respectful person of dignity, and when that demon hop on them, it ain't nothing that they can do. So it's best that when it hops on them, that you protect yourself in this era that we're living in now. Because the way that demons are hopping onto people and they are taking on these demonic, activities, you have to be able to safeguard yourself wholeheartedly, and that's mental included, body, spirit. You have to be able to protect yourself. Um, because it's just so rampant. Because once that demon jump, it's it. That's it, and it's over. You know, just like he killed his wife, he could kill his best friend if he thinks he could tell on him. Exactly. Because I'm one that if you can kill once, you can kill twice. It takes a lot to kill a person. Okay, all right, and so you it's if you could do it once cold heartedly, you can do it twice cold heartedly. Um, but I'll say this: when he called his friend or text his friend to say that he needed help, his friend had one choice. Am I going to help my friend, or I'm going to call the authorities because he's not here yet? It was at that moment that he made a quick decision that now he's having to, be arrested for the actions of his friend and him assisting in it. And that was a 60-second decision that has changed his life possibly forever. Because if these are, they're coming from a nice background and, a upscale neighborhood, 9 times out of 10, they have really nice careers. That is now in the trash. So while Brad may be spending the rest of his life in jail, his friend may not, spend that same time. But when it comes to rebuilding his life thereafter, it's going to be hard, you know, because of what he's done. Okay. If you have taste, it's if you have tasted once, you will definitely taste it again. Exactly. It's just one of those death is it's just one of those things that if you do it once, you definitely can do it, especially in this instance of cold hearted. Now, if it's something where you're protecting yourself, that's different, you know. But take it as far as what this man did. Okay. He actually and it looks like that this was a build-up type of thing. And he was so controlling that he was turning off her phones. That is a control mechanism within itself, okay? Not wanting her to talk to people, not wanting her to be around people. Whenever they get into an argument, he turns off her phones through the app. Stop all service. That gives you the level of control that this man desired from her. She possibly wasn't able to talk to people. And the moment that she talks to someone, smiles at someone, shakes someone's hand, walk a certain way, do something that he doesn't like, it's instant tension, it's instant fights, instant arguments. And that is possibly what happened the night of that event. She could have simply been talking to someone that he didn't want her to talk to. She could have simply been, sitting somewhere he didn't want her to sit, and it goes up from there. Because when it comes to narcissists, as we stated before, the moment that they feel like that they've lost all control, it's over. All bets are off, and you never know what is going to come thereafter. But the service being taken, and then him taking the phone, I mean the service being turned off, and him also taking devices, that's a level of control that is just wild and bizarre, you know? It just is. It's kind of crazy, you know? Thank you so much. Yes, please like this video. If you like this video, why does my camera keep focusing in and out this morning? It was doing really good yesterday, but now today it's doing a lot of boop. And I don't have the autofocus on at all, so I don't know why it's doing this. Um, then she should have gotten her own phone. After all, modern women don't need men. Huh? He was taking the phone. Mrs. Soso, are you having it's one of Mrs. Soso days today. No, it's not that she should have gotten her own phone. This should be a man that understands his emotions. One thing about a man, anybody, we can all, a woman can birth a woman or a man, a woman or a man. Okay, starts off as a girl, grows into, starts off as a boy. What makes you a woman is certain qualities, and what makes you a man is certain qualities. Okay. When it comes to a man's emotions, a woman is most definitely going to show emotion. That's just how we are. That's how we're built. We're built on emotion. A man has emotions too, but what makes that man a man is how he controls his emotion. A woman should know how to control her emotions as well. But when a man goes out and use his dominance as a man, including with emotions and not in the lack thereof of controlling them, it weakens his stance as a man. You begin to look like, to me, a woman that has control of her emotions, a woman that understands how to communicate myself during times of frustration and anger. It looks to me that you're taking on the qualities of a woman when you can't control yourself. So if you find yourself putting your hands on a woman because she does something that you don't want her to do, or you find yourself taking a woman's phone because you want to control every aspect of her life, or you call yourself turning all her off her phone services because you don't want her to talk to anyone else, this woman doesn't have to get a new phone. She has to get a new man. She has to get a new man, because that's a man that don't understand how to control himself, but that's also a man that is very obsessive, very controlling, and a man that wants to be able to dominate anything and everything in his existence to prove that he's a man. That's what it gives to a woman like me, that understands the difference of man and woman, the roles of man and woman, and what makes us, what makes things balanced. But if I see a man just shoving around his dominance on women like this, I don't look at you like a wholehearted man. I look at you like you were born one. But does your qualities give you that? No. No. You were born a man for sure. Absolutely, you were born a man. Well, born a boy into a man, but the qualities that you have, does it match that? No. No. She shouldn't have to go out and buy a whole new phone because a man is so controlling that you know, he cannot fathom the fact that his wife has a phone that she talks to family, friends, and loved ones with. A true man, though, with great qualities will understand that that phone is not just a phone. That phone is also, it helps her for safety, just in case emergencies happen. And because he's a protector, he's going to want her to have that phone on and available at all time. That's the difference in understanding the qualities of men. Okay? It's just how I view things. I could be wrong, but that's how I look at it. You know, who wants to be controlled as an adult? Nobody. Nobody. You know, any obsessed person, male or female, do crazy things, period. Exactly. It gives very much obsession. Like it gives obsession when you do stuff like that. Honestly. Why are you talking to this person? Why are you talking to your mom? Why are you doing it? What? Are you okay? Like, what's up? Cause get yourself under control, sir. He's not a man. He's not even a boy because a boy got more sense than him. Exactly. You know, it's just that's you know, very it is very boy like. That's my woman. Don't talk to her. That's just as bad as that's my toy. Don't touch it. That's what it reminds me of. And that's because I understand the difference between, you know, a man of quality and a man that lack thereof, you know? An insecure guy, period. For sure. Alrighty, guys. So Bigo, I will be coming to you guys today. Just give me a couple minutes. Probably about 10 minutes after the show, I'll be popping up on live. We got a whole lineup for today. Okay, whole lineup. I am also so I am lacking on the content for Savage Royal for the website. Okay. So these stories, while I will be doing discussions on YouTube and things of that nature and Bigo for these shows. I will do discussions on them. I'm also going to be creating videos for them, you know, just for you guys to have a great watch. Okay. Just another way to offer some entertainment. So a lot of these shows will begin to be turned into other content for you guys to watch to kind of piece the story together outside of the discussion type of thing. Okay. So I will be trying to kick those things up as I have been. I haven't had a chance to figure out how I'm going to be posting on there. And that's what I'm going to do. This here is our deep dive in, you know, discussions. The shows that will be posted on savageroyalty.com will be me piecing the story together for you guys. And then we also have our after show discussions that are available on Bigo. Now, in Bigo, make sure that when I go live that you guys remind me to record because I always forget and the camera is literally sitting right here and I still forget to record for you guys. So if you're going to be watching the Bigo show, make sure that you remind me to record, okay? Because I will forget. Alrighty, guys. I'll be back tomorrow, all right, with new content, new show, new story. Don't know what's going on, but we'll see, okay? And thank you guys for watching True Crime with Savage Royalty.